Howdy folks, it's Angel, the Hunting Gear Guy. Today I wanted to show you guys this Troy sporting rifle, PAR in 308. This is the bigger version of their lighter sporting rifle, which also comes in 223 and 300 blackout. And the idea with this is that this is similar to an AR, but it's just different enough that it's legal in most states and is actually very close to what you can get for an AR here in Canada, but not being an AR. And this is why it's not an AR, because it's a pump action. So it's not a semi-automatic. There is very few components in here that are from the semi-automatic version of the AR, and instead it runs a pump so that you can run this thing. So why don't we get into it and take a closer look at this rifle. Now before we get too deep into this, let's just do a safety check on this rifle. My magazine is empty and my chamber is empty. I'm just starting at the rear of the rifle here. This particular version comes on a buffer tube and it telescopes in and out, so very similar to every other AR out there. There are versions of this Troy rifle that have a folding stock instead, which makes sense because it doesn't need to use the recoil spring and the buffer tube. Those are just for the semi-automatic version of the AR. At the rear of this particular rifle, it's also got this storage space here, which you can access by pushing down on this latch and then popping it open. So you've got a little bit of room for whatever you might want to store in there. And one thing you might notice really quickly with this is that this is a different outline than an AR-10 or an AR-15. So this upper and lower are incompatible with the AR, and that's important, especially here in Canada, where it seems if you can take an upper and make it fire with any old lower from an AR-15, it will be restricted. So here in Canada, this rifle is non-restricted, and it's non-restricted in most of the US as well. It's not like a prohibited rifle or anything like that. We've got this pretty standard AR grip on the bottom here. This one is really, really grippy. They've got lots of different serrations in it to make sure that your hand won't move on it. Along the side here, it's almost like a slick side. There's no shell deflector or cover or anything. It's just very nice and slick. Towards the bottom here, we've got a flared mag well. This makes it easy to pop those mags in there. And as you can see, this one comes with this short 10-round mag. This one in particular is pinned to 5. That's just one of the things that we have to do here in Canada, is pin our magazines to 5 if they're made for a rifle. But I believe this one will take XCR-M pistol mags, so we could get 10-rounders here in Canada. For those of you in the States, you know, your own local laws will apply there. Along the top here, we've got a nice pick rail that we can apply optics onto. Some of these come with pop-up iron sights. Personally, I like running just a scope because there's nothing wrong with them, and they're reliable these days. Now, just along the bottom here, I just wanted to show you something. There's this button here, and that button is what unlocks the pump. The pump also unlocks every time you pull a trigger, but if you don't want to pull a trigger, you just push that guy in, and then you can work the pump. There you can see into this port here. You can see that bolt coming forward. And really, I'll show this in the disassembly video, but there's just a rod that goes to where that gas key would go, and it goes all the way down and connects to that front pump. So I'll show you that in the disassembly video. There's our lockup there as well. Now along the forend here, this is very similar to their, very similar might as well be, their Troy Alpha series forends. I've actually got this style forend on my AR-15, and these circles here can be used to add in or remove different features. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this grip on here, you're gonna have a hard time using any of these holes to mount extra stuff on, just because that pump pretty much covers most of them to some degree when you're pumping this rifle. So there's a couple left over at the front here, but all the other ones are kind of covered over. So that pump is in the way. I'm going to show you what's underneath here again in the disassembly video. And at the front here, we've got things topped off with one of these Troy muzzle brakes. It's got these fancy little cutouts in the side. It's got kind of a meat tenderizer front kind of a thing there. So that's interesting as well. Now in terms of using this rifle, there's a couple of interesting things because it is a pump. One of them is that resting this at the range and shooting off bags is kind of a pain in the butt because if you've got it resting on bags and you make your shot, I'm just going to pull this mag out, you make your shot, you literally have to pick it up off the bags, pump it, and then pop it back on the bag. So it can be a little bit slow to shoot at the range compared to a semi-automatic. Some other interesting things, one of them is the trigger on this thing. It's a little bit creepy and gritty, so I'm just going to again check, there's nothing in there. And just to show you with my left hand, watch the trigger. You see how it's got that tick in there? So it's got a little bit of grit to it, and it is a little bit heavy, but I believe that the AR-15 version of this takes AR-15 trigger parts, and I would like to take a look and see if this thing will take the larger hammer and the other setup of the AR-10, because if it does, a trigger upgrade, which would make a big difference here for this rifle. Now, a couple of interesting things about this rifle. Again, one of them is that this upper and lower, the fit on them is a little bit rattly. On most AR-15s, there's a little bit of give between the top and the bottom. This one there is a little bit, and you can especially feel it when you're getting up on the stock and taking a shot. You can actually feel it moving up and down on you. So it doesn't feel the best. The other thing I wanted to show you guys was just the slide on this thing. Now, just from shooting it out at the range, it started to get really, really gritty. So, and we had to take it apart and clean it. Now, it's not that bad right now, but at the range this was starting to grind, and what it was these parts inside the forend kind of wearing themselves to the forend. So there's a lot of aluminum dust and aluminum chips in there that had to be cleaned away and then oiled in order to get it to be smooth again. Now we've got a standard AR style safety on the side here, which is actually very easy to use with your right hand thumb. And we have a standard magazine release that is easily actuated by your right forefinger. So interestingly, I mean, this is really a 308 AR-10 facsimile that is legal in many places. So this would be legal in Canada, legal to even go hunting with, because it takes those short 5-round mags, and it's in 308, which you can hunt with in most areas of Canada. So this could be an AR that you hunt with if you really want to hunt with an AR. So you could go hunting deer or whatever with this rifle. I think for a lot of other people, they just might want to take a gun like this out to a gravel pit and do some shooting with it, right? They're nice and accurate, they're very ergonomic, so this is a nicer experience shooting than a lot of the other non-restricted rifles that we have here available in Canada. So for that reason, a lot of people might want to take these out to shoot. But for me, I think that one of the really cool things about this, in Canada here, our non-restricted semi-autos are really expensive. They're really costly. They're right around the $2,000 to $3,000 mark, and for that, you're typically getting military accuracy, military grade accuracy, like 2 to 5 MOA, whereas this guy was quite a bit more accurate than that. If I could just show you really quickly. This is at the range. Try to ignore my 17 HMR bullet holes here, but this is at 200 yards with this rifle. And you can see that we've got actually a very nice group here, and this is just with like real cheap S&B ammo. And we're getting right around a 2 MOA group at 200 yards. So that's a good group for a rifle like this, right? It's not a bolt action rifle, it's just it's a pump action rifle, and that kind of accuracy is pretty good. So lots of options for different optics if you want to run a red dot or a scope like this 1:6 that we have on here right now. They're absolutely okay with it, and because it uses an AR sight plane, there's lots of different scope mounts and optics that are kind of built for it and all ready to go. So I hope you found that interesting. Again, this is the Troy PAR in 308. Thanks for watching.
Where'd that hit?
A little center.
Oh, okay.
Pretty close to the center. One flyer, but other than that, it's just a little bit more than 1 MOA.